So I like to make the point that little is really known about this question that I'm asking you, the student, and that there are discoveries still to be made. Most of the knowledge is still to be learned. And I think that
trading. So I give them fake money and I give them these little emissions permits. And I'll talk more about that in just a second too. So in other words, if you're the US and you presumably will need, if you sign on to Kyoto, you will eventually probably need to buy some emissions credits, right? So you start with some money. And basically, in order, one of the ways that you, as the US, are okay to ratify Kyoto is if you know that you have enough money and a country that's willing to, sell you their permits, things like that.
But to get engagement that I wanted them going to the field.
Part of our NSF project will be to evaluate that and find out, are we true with that? And so we're looking for some of you to work with us as guinea pigs.
So I've got two main questions that I'm using to design my course. And the first is, how does teaching climate fiction, or cli-fi as it's been abbreviated, as in sci-fi, cli-fi, help educate students about climate change? How does it help them prepare to take an active, informed role in responding to the climate crisis? And
using that top of atmosphere balance type approach, where you're looking at the balance of radiation.
On what equity requires of each country. And so there's been a large literature in the philosophical journals about what equity could mean, and it doesn't mean economic self-interest. Okay, you can't set your target based upon economic self-interest.
Anyway,
here's the latest IPCC. I know someone who worked on this question.
Well, so I started out as
Treaties are a set of principles that nation states, the parties are supposed to be guided by in what are we going to do about this problem, okay? So applying this assignment, paraphrase times 3 to this, basically what I did was gave an assigned passage of the text to 4 or 5 students doing different pieces of the text. They would paraphrase it 3 times, okay? When I first read about this, I thought, gee, that sounds tedious. And am I really going to ask my students to do this? It works.
And then we're going to pretend that this is real life, right? Like, you are building a climate model. This is not, just do it the night before it's due. It's going to require a lot more work than that.
What we used is a software package called iTree. iTree is free, and there are a variety of ways that we can do this, but what it is allow that colloquium, that group of students, to put together the data on the trees in a way that it could be sent into the National Forest Service database.
Before the class began over Christmas break, I sent out a survey for students. The kind of questions you think, well, obviously everything that's using electricity, right? It's nice that it's a complex fluorescent light that's still using energy. But that's a really basic question. I'm not sure your students have thought of it.
How does language work so we take the responsibility? And how does language help change our behavior?
In thinking about the New Deal, I use an essay by Donald Worcester called Grassland Follies, Agricultural Capitalism on the Great Plains. He's one of the really famous, one of the sort of founding deans of environmental history.
Most of this is that to create awareness for the students. That is for students to understand various aspects of sustainability concepts.
One, understand the carbon cycle. Their personal creativity comes in thinking about what it would mean to sequester carbon.
Are there things that you're doing in your classrooms? What are you teaching? What's important to you? Is there something you heard today that you'd like to use in your teaching? So let's have a conversation.